Hi, and welcome to Weigh In with Connie. Today, my guest star is the fabulous Pamela with Green Stick Cottage. How are you doing today, Pamela?
Very well, thank you.
Awesome. So, today we're going to be talking about Pamela's weight loss story. And oh, does she have a story for you? And I think she's going to be sharing a lot of helpful information to help others be successful on their weight loss journey. And the main thing we will be talking about, and this is some of the process of how she lost her weight, is rewiring your brain. And I do think this plays a major part. And I am very interested in learning more from Pamela on this topic. And this is something that I want to start looking into more because when it comes to my own journey, I usually the first couple of weeks is always the hardest to get on track. And once you get to a certain point, usually I'm fine. It's usually after a year or two that I start to struggle. And usually I get to where I fall off the wagon and start to put my weight back on. And a lot of times I end up bigger than what I was initially. And this has to stop for me. My health and my life is on the line here. And
Right,
I'm determined that I
me
will
too.
stop it. And mindset is also a big part of losing weight. And one thing I do want to mention just to cover myself is before you start any type of weight loss or exercise journey, you need to consult with your doctor. I am not a doctor. Pamela is not a doctor. We're just sharing information that we've learned from our own research and our journeys. You may not always agree with everything we say, and it may not work for you. Everybody is different, but like I said, it is best to consult with your doctor, and especially
Always.
those that have medical conditions or limitations. So I did want to put that out there. And I do want to welcome all of those that will be watching on replay. Glad that you're watching the replay. Please leave a comment to let us know you watched the replay. And and this part applies to everybody, whether you're in the chat or watching the replay. Feel free to answer any questions we ask on today's live. And so far, we have Samantha, Roberta, Diane, Anita, Granny D, Diana. Let's see. I think that's everybody that has
Hi,
joined
everybody.
us. How are all of y'all doing today? And let us know what you're currently working on because y'all know I'm all about the crochet and knitting. But the topic today is really more focused on weight loss type things. But yeah, let's see if anyone mentioned. Yeah, Roberta's crocheting a shawl, and I did get your email, Samantha. It'll probably be tomorrow before I respond back to you. Because usually I check my emails. I try to every day in my YouTube comments, and then I reply, and then I go back to it the next day. And I tend to do it more in the morning time.
Oh,
Oh.
thank you. Hiring spot. Thank you.
Anita's crocheting a baby blanket in the alpine stitch. Sweet. And Anita's working on more jelly. Yeah, she's been making blackberry jelly. She went blackberry picking. I'm jelly. And Hiring Squad says Pamela has wonderful videos. Yes, if y'all haven't checked Pamela out, please do so. I have
I'm
her
kind of all
channel.
over the place.
I have her channel link in the description box of today's live. And if one of my moderators could drop her link in the chat, yeah, go check her out. I think you'll love Pamela. And I'm fixing to let Pamela tell y'all more about herself and her channel in just a few minutes. But Hiring Squad, what is your first name? Or do you know what it is, Pamela?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anxious to find out.
And we also have Kaylina. Aw, thanks for the sweet words. Christy, that joined us. Diana just finished the red truck gift card holder. Oh, I love the red trucks. I don't know, there's something about it, and especially at Christmas time, but even in general. Yeah, Diana's got a video up starting a Mrs. Claude, or do you mean Claus gnome after I do some cleaning? Yes, and if y'all don't know, I have a gnome make alone going on. It's any craft, as long as it's homemade, any pattern. Um, and it's for the month of July. So as long as you get your pictures make sent to me before the end of July, I will put them in a video. If they're after the fact, it goes in my finished projects video, my monthly one for that. Um, let's see. Everyone's saying hello. Thank you, Anita. And Granny D. Yeah, Mrs. Claus. And we also have Pam here.
Hi,
Welcome in.
Pam.
Yeah, and those of y'all with channels, if y'all want y'all links dropped, just type drop in the chat, or like I like to say, drop it like it's hot. But it has to have the word drop. But you may want to wait a minute if like someone else typed the word drop, because if it's done too soon, Nightbot doesn't usually drop the link. So if you find that Nightbot doesn't drop it, just type it again. But give it like a minute. Pam, Pam did it. So
Pam needs to
anyway,
sing that. She needs to sing that one.
this is the first time I've had Pamela on a live. So I'm so happy to have her.
Oh,
And
thank
I do
you.
like to have new people guest starring on my lives. So, all my spots are filled for July, but when it gets closer to August, I will be scheduling for August if anyone's interested. And so I'm going to let her now tell y'all more about herself and her channel and things going on her channel. Take it away,
Uh,
Pam.
all right. Well, I think I started my channel in January or around that time. And basically, I started off with yarny things, and I just wanted to be able an easier way to show what I'm making. And you know how we all love showing, look, I found this pattern, I want to make it, or just when we're done with a project, we're so excited to show, look at what I made. So that was kind of it. I was already doing that on Instagram, but there's a lot of people on YouTube that aren't on Instagram, so I wanted to share that on YouTube too. And then now recently I've branched into BookTube and FlossTube. BookTube is obviously about books, and then FlossTube is about you know, mainly cross stitch embroidery, but also quilting and other kinds of embroidery get kind of incorporated under that label. And so I'm trying to get more regular with uploading videos and getting, you know, getting my learning curve to learn how to do things, to insert things in the videos and stuff like that. So, it's just learn as you go for me. Always ship is what I look. Even if it's not perfect, do it anyway. So, so that's kind of where that's going.
And is there anything going on with your channel you want to share? Like maybe a
Not,
giveaway or something?
no, I haven't done anything like that. You know, the next video I'm planning is going to be the BookTube newbie tag, which, you know, gets little more personal, I guess. But it's book oriented, you know, book related. And I think I can do that one. But, you know, the problem I run into is I spread myself amongst all these different interests. And so it's like, I feel like don't do another video until you finish something. So it's like, you know, I've got these projects going, oh, this is my weight loss make along top
For
that
the
I'm working on.
challenge?
It's a knitted
Yes.
tee. And I'm working on that, but this is just the back. I haven't even started the front or the
Nice.
sleeves or anything. So, you know, but I like to rotate amongst different crafts and interests. And so sometimes there'll be a delay before I make another video because I don't want to just keep saying, well, I got 2 rows done on this. So,
I know. Because that's where some weeks I don't always do like a crochet or knitting video because I don't feel like I have enough to share or talk about to really
yeah.
do a video some weeks. Um but
And
yeah,
plus,
so
I love watching everybody else, and it's like sometimes I just want to watch for a while, and then I might get inspired to, you know, or I might have something new to show. But yeah, so it's a work in progress. That's basically it.
yeah, so for those that don't know, I do have a weight loss make along going on. Basically, the only real requirement is to crochet or knit something. And really, it could even be another craft too. I'm not really picky on that. But I know like most of us are either crochet or knitters or both. And that's the main content of my channel. Um, but yeah, and really, there's no end date to this make along.
Thank you, Christy.
And, as long as I'm doing my channel, this make along's still occurring. So it can be like anytime. Um, I don't foresee myself ending my channel anytime soon, but you never know what the future has in store. Um,
Right.
but yeah,
Very true.
so you just have to make something in a smaller size than what you're currently wearing. And, it's up to you, because like say you have 100 pounds to lose. And I get that's, you know, a lot to lose, and you may need something to help motivate you along the way where you may choose just to drop one size or lose 20 pounds, you know, type thing for it to fit you at that goal or about that goal type thing, you know.
That's what I did. I was between sizes according to measurement. So for this, I chose the smaller size. And so
But
it's
the
going to be a
whole
cotton tee, and it'll shrink, which will make it even smaller. But that's one of the things when you lose weight, you kind of, at least for me, I have kind of a confused. It's hard for me to recognize what size I actually am. I tend to just kind of think I'm larger than I actually
And
am.
like
And, you know, that's why my dress is all like, you know, it's like, okay, well, I got the wrong size. It's too big.
yeah, sometimes you'll see me that my clothes are too way too baggy.
Yeah. And I mean, I just took the tags off of this dress this morning, and it's like, oh, I should have gotten the smaller size. But you know, you, again, that's just what happens, and so you just go with the flow. And
But
eventually, I'll get used to being in the skin I'm in.
the thing is, the main point of this make along is to help encourage people that want to lose weight or and all to lose weight. Because you got the motivational aspect of fitting in it, and you put a lot of hard work to make it. So it's different than going out and buying something in a smaller size.
True. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I don't want to waste all that time. I want it to fit.
exactly. So you're more prone to motivate yourself to get there.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, just email me your pictures when you're done. And when I get pictures, I'll show them on my live. And at some point, when I get enough pictures of y'all weight loss make alone makes, I will put them in a video. But like I said, I don't know how quickly and you know and all how so I'll just do it when I feel like there's enough. And then if you get to fitting in it, I would love to know and I would love to see you share a picture wearing it.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, get y'all pictures in when y'all make them. And one thing too, because I know that was one concern I had when I got the idea to talk about this subject on my channel was, because I am a yarny type channel, crochet, knitting, and I knew it was more off topic, but I felt like it was such an important thing to talk about. And that's where I started putting out feelers at first to see how people felt about it. And it seemed like I got a lot of positive feedback and people wanted it. So here it is.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I was glad you brought it up and introduced the subject, and because you know we're not just knitters and crocheters. We're people. We're just regular people. So we deal with all different kinds of issues.
mm. And those joining us, let us know you're here. Let us know what you're working on. And, we want to hear from you. And there will be some questions I'll be asking and stuff that I would love, to hear your answers to. Now I do have a few channel announcements I want to make. Um, More of it's kind of updates where one thing is, if you haven't noticed, I have a little pattern giveaway posted on my community page and also in my Facebook group. And just so you know, in my Facebook group, like whenever y'all comment or something, I can't reply to comments right now because I got hacked a few days ago and ended up
Oh,
getting on a 6-day restriction with Facebook. So I'm not allowed to do certain things, but I did not get locked out of my account. I changed my password. Um, so after the restriction ends, everything will be back to normal. But there is a giveaway that I posted. I can post things, but like I can't like share links. I can't like share something that someone else posted like on my Facebook page and stuff. I can't reply to comments, but I can reply to posts other people make. But anyway, um And I also plan to make a video. I plan to film some videos tomorrow doing a video one. And I consider each one a different giveaway. But you could only win once on each one. So once I get that video out, there'll be three different ones. Okay. So you can enter on each one of them. But like say the community page one, you can only win once on it out of the three winners. And the same thing with the Facebook one. Now the one on my that I do the video, I may do it where it's two patterns instead of just one. I'm still kind of thinking. But anyway, so like I said, if you want one of my patterns, make sure to enter. Um, and another thing too, like the question that I'm asking is I want to know your guesses on what you think my secret surprise is. Now I
Oh
won't
boy.
until I'm ready to, but I'm curious the theories. And I will tell you all the information I've put out about it, which isn't a whole lot. Um, that initially I said it would be 4 to 6 weeks that before I would announce it. I told y'all it was good news and I'm really excited about it. Then I thought I was going to be able to announce it tomorrow or Monday, but there's been either some type of delay or maybe something changed that I don't know exactly when I'll be able to announce it. But now there's something else to the secret and the surprise. It may be linked together, it may not be. Um, but that's basically all the information I've put out there. and I'm
I
so
have no idea.
and I'm so curious of everyone's theories. I mean, there has been two popular theories, but then there's there's a good chance maybe no one's thought about what it actually is.
My guess is Monthy.
But anyway, I see Terry joined us. Welcome in, and she's talking about how she got hacked. Yeah, and Brenda Young got hacked like the day before me, and poor Brenda, she got locked out of her account. So if you get a new friend request from her, she has just like a picture of herself on the new one. It is really her. I've talked to her. I know it's her. And to delete her old one and report it. And the other thing I want to mention, this is an update to something I announced previously because I've talked about doing a big giveaway probably around January-ish. And initially, my plans was to give extra entries for super chatters and channel memberships. But I've heard conflicting things on it. I've never seen any definite proof that it goes against YouTube's terms. And but when you read their terms, it only really says that it has to be free to enter. But if you let people enter from comments, technically everybody can enter. You would just get extra entries for doing certain things. But, you know, and it has to follow all of your local lottery laws. That's what's in the terms of service. But I'm not going to take any chances.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm steering on the side of caution. So I do plan to do where you can enter just from the comments. And there is something I want to do where people can get more entries, and this would apply to anyone could. But I don't think it should be an issue with YouTube, but basically where I would kind of give away extra entries that anyone can enter to win the extra entries. Because I think that would kind of make it more fun and exciting. And even if you have, like, you may end up with like 5 entries or something. That doesn't mean you're going to win. That person with 1 entry may win. It's a giveaway. Anything can happen on a giveaway. It's totally random. But like I said, I probably won't be able to do them as often as I was hoping. It may just be twice a year, but it will be bigger giveaways and well worth it. Um, Now, one thing I do want to bring up, and I don't want anyone to feel like they have to. This is only if you can and want to. I mean, I love all my Yorny peeps the same. This doesn't make a difference in how I feel about you. And I don't want people to feel pressured. But it would help me in being able to do these giveaways and doing them more often. If people could help with things like super chats, super thanks, channel memberships, or like PayPal, stuff like that, or even making prize donations. But again, that's just, I don't want anyone to feel forced or I'm putting pressure on you. Um, but yeah, I think that is what the stuff I wanted to talk about. Um, let's see. We have Michelle that joined us. Michelle Yu with AKA Yorny Disaster. Uh, yeah, exactly, Terry. It just takes one to win, you know, and you know, you never know. I see people that you constantly see them winning, and then others always enter and they either don't win or they rarely win. It's just luck of the odds. And sometimes I think it's how those programs are programmed too, which we have no control over. Because I have noticed where like, when you're giving away several prizes, that it tends to pick some of the same people more than once. And that's a program. Exactly. I love Anita. We talk all the time. And she says she's broke, you know? But anyway, let's get more into today's topic now. I could talk about this topic for hours, but I want to be finished in time for Granny D's live so those that want to alien invade her can do so. Um, but Pam, you want to talk about your story? And first off, tell people how much weight you have lost.
I've lost 292 pounds so far. And that has
Wow.
been since April 23rd, 2020. So a little over 3 years. And, but it started, before that. Now that I have the benefit of hindsight, I can see things that contributed and got me on the way. Um, I was not overweight as a child. I did not start putting on weight until my 20s, probably about mid 20s. And I had, um, you know, like 3 children by then. I have a total of 9 children. Um, and so I just kept putting on the weight. And the lowest I weighed in the last 25 years was 270, in the 270s. So, so I've been morbidly obese, as the doctors say, since, for at least 25 years. Um, so even though and that 270 was a more than 100-pound weight loss to get down to the 270s. So that was a brief period, and and then it just creeped back up more and more. And my highest weight was my highest recorded weight was in July of 2019, because by that time I couldn't weigh on the bathroom scale because my bathroom scale only goes up to 400 pounds. But at the doctor's office, they have that big platform scale with arm rails and everything. And so, and of course, I was wheelchair bound and all that. I'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, I could get an accurate weight at the doctor's office. And so in July 2019, that was 484 pounds. I was like, wow, I can't even believe I weigh that much, but I did. And so facing the truth like that is very important. Unfortunately, by 2020, so when I, did start to lose weight, they would not in April of 2020, they would not let me go in and weigh myself because of the big fee. So anyway, so I didn't know what I weighed until October of 2020 when I finally registered on my own home scale, and it was 401. So from April to October, I had lost, so we don't really know where I started. I could have been 500 pounds for all I know, because the only official recorded weight was that at the doctor's office. So anyway, so what happened is, I had multiple medical conditions. I had bone-on-bone knees that were in need of replacement. This is what happens to your body over time, carrying massive amounts of weight, or even, not so massive as mine was. It still wears down your joints. So that was the condition I was in, and I was wheelchair bound and could not walk, very short of breath. I had congestive heart failure. And then in 2017, I had a slip and fall, tore up my knee. So my already bad knee got torn out, and then and my left leg was broken, and I was too high risk for surgery. So they transferred me to a rehabilitation hospital, which is basically a nursing home, and I had to be non-weight bearing. So I was bed bound at that point for 3.5 months, and I had to fight my way out of that place. So that gives you some motivation as well, because you do not want to live there. And they were taking away my home because, you're institutionalized now, because the nursing home is trying to hang on to every patient they can because they want to get the money for that bed. And I told them that, I'm getting out of here even if I have to call 6 people to come carry me out. So I got out, but I had to, have a hospital bed at home, and I was still bed bound and wheelchair bound. By that time, I could at least transfer myself into the wheelchair. At the nursing home, I had to be hoisted with it. They have a like a sling that they stick you in, and that's scary as can be. But anyway, so I was in terrible shape. I was in constant physical pain. But during one gem came out of that 3.5 month stay there, and they have a lending library there, and I got this book. And when they had me in the wheelchair one time, I wheeled to the bookshelves, and this is one of the books I picked, Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Caroline Lee. And I read that book in 2017, and the main thing I got out of this was that our brains can change. It's called neuroplasticity, that our brains are malleable, that we control our brains, and we can change our thought patterns. We can create pathways around toxic thought patterns and, basically rewire our brain. Dr. Caroline Leaf has I didn't discover this until the last year or so. She has a YouTube channel, and it's just at sign Dr. Caroline Leaf, and that's leaf just like the leaf on the tree. And she's amazing. And anyway, I love learning from her. Then later, in the last couple of years, well, back in 2022, I found this book at the thrift store, which is Switch on Your Brain Every Day by Caroline Leaf, Dr. Caroline Leaf. I'm like, oh, I got to get that. And I'm actually still going through this because it's one of these where it's a portion for every day. And what I do, and so part of what I do here, now this is not what I did to start off, so this is kind of a divergent thing, but I take these little things that she writes and I put them in my, I call this my commonplace book. This is where I keep notes and things. And I will take it and I will put it in the first person. Like here's an example. So I personalize it to myself, what she says in a general way. I make it very specific to me. And it's usually the same sentence. I just recast it as me and mine and I. So my amygdala didn't make me do it. Our amygdala is, where trauma gets stored and stuff. I am not my brain structures. My amygdala or any other part of my brain cannot make me say or do anything. Parts of my brain do not control me. They are simply structures within my brain with scientific neurophysiological functions that become more or less active in response to me expressing what it feels like inside. So I think taking this ownership of our thoughts and everything is really important. And so, this is what I've, gotten into the habit of doing. But the seeds were planted with the book Switch on Your Brain. So that planted the idea of I can change. My brain can change. My thoughts can change. I am not stuck in these toxic thought patterns that make me say it's hopeless. I can't ever change. I'll never be able to lose weight. All these negative thought patterns that we get into. And it, like I said, it didn't take hold. I did not do the exercises in this book. I should have done the exercise. I'm going to reread the book and do the exercises now. But hang on just a second. My phone is notifying me that the battery's going, so I better plug it in. So anyway, that that really impressed me that I have to be open enough, and so so all of that percolated in my head that that I needed to understand that I am in control. And she also emphasizes in her YouTube videos and other in writing, our mind is in control of our brain. Our brain is not our mind. Our mind controls our brain. Our mind creates the software that the hardware of our brain runs on. And she, in this book, Switch on Your Brain Every Day, she emphasizes that we create physical structures in our brain with our thoughts, that we put proteins together, through our thoughts, and these create the neurological pathways in our brain. And so we can wire around these negative thoughts that defeat us and sabotage, they sabotage us. And we have to, anyway, I think it's just a fascinating thing. Then, so that was 2017. I'm sorry, go ahead, Connie.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you for a little bit. I want to address some things and greet some people that just joined us. Okay. And then I have some things I want to comment on what you said just now. Let me go back where I left off in the chat. And that's one thing I do want to say, that usually, like when my guest star is talking, I do wait for them to finish what they're saying before I address what's in the chat or greet people. So I'm not ignoring anyone. I promise. I don't
I'm
try
not
to
either.
ignore
I just
anyone.
can't read it when I'm talking.
Because sometimes it takes me a while to say hi to somebody, and I don't want them to think that, oh, she's ignoring me for some reason. That's not what it is. And in the event that I wouldn't greet somebody and tell them hi, I overlooked it. It's not intentional. Connie, don't you know? Connie's nice and friendly, but
Yeah, you're always very attentive to that. I've noticed that over the time
I
I've
see
been watching you.
Samantha and Janice joined us.
I thank you for all the nice comments, by the way, that I'm seeing now.
Yes. And Samantha, I did see your email. I'll be responding it to tomorrow. And also, I know you're asking about what your playlist. Send me an email and I'll make a post on my community page. But send me an email to remind me about making a post for you, hon. Um, and if anyone has anything that they want me to share going on your channels, or you want to shout out, just send me an email. I'm always willing to shout others out. Sometimes it might be a giveaway, or maybe you have a make alone going on, a new pattern, whatever. Um, and I think I told Terry hi. If not, howdy, howdy. And we have Tyler, everything guy. And how are y'all doing? And what are y'all working on? And yeah, and those, if y'all can help Samantha, um, because I'm sure she's needing watch hours to get monetized. Um, let's see if I'm missing anything. Oh, we also have Rudy that joined us. Welcome in. And I see you have 1239. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Yes, I agree, Granny D. And that's why I thought Pam was such an awesome guest star for today. Because, I mean, her story is so motivational, and it's proof that you can do this. Believe in yourself, think positive. Like my little alien there says, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
We're far more powerful than we think we are.
Exactly. Which I'm going to get into that a little more in just a bit. But yeah, a lot of the journey is the way you think. Um and everyone's congratulating you. Yeah, like Pamela deserves like a huge round of applause.
Yeah.
And one
Thank
thing
you. Thank you very much.
one thing too, and this is something I'm interested in with guest stars on future weigh-in with Connie videos, like those, especially like those that have lost a good bit of weight. I am interested in having you on my panel.
I
Um,
am too.
and another thing too, and I'm not trying to be discouraging when I say this, but this is something, you know, you do need to realize, because there's way more to losing weight than just watching what you eat and exercising. Way, way more. And unfortunately, statistics do show, and if you look around you, you'll probably agree that you notice this too. And this is something that I've always been embarrassed and shameful of in the past with my weight loss journeys and struggles. But most people, I don't know if they mean from the start of losing weight or once they reach their goal weight, but within 5 years, most people put that weight back on. And think about it. How many people do you know that keep the weight off really long term or lifelong? There's not many. And you got to learn how to make this lifelong, which is why I think today's topic is extremely important. And hopefully we're sharing helpful tips to get you there, because I want everybody that wants to lose weight to be successful. I want you to reach your goals, and you can do it. Believe in yourself. And we have Brittany that joined us. Welcome in, Brittany. And Truly Amazing. And what's your first name? Truly Amazing. And I do need you to send me an email, Truly Amazing. There's something I want to do for you, and I don't know your email address or how to contact you. So I need you to send me an email. Let me put my banner up. Just another stitch 2020 at gmail.com. And we also have Paula. Oh, your first name is Teresa. Okay, good. Um, I'm gonna try to remember that. I may ask you again until it sinks in here. But yeah. And like I said, I'm glad to be able to try to help those that like need this, because your weight affects your health a lot. It really does. And even if you just have like 5 or 10 pounds you want to lose, it's still, because everyone's like amount of weight and stuff is different. But we're all here for the same goal. And sometimes losing that 5, 10 pounds and keeping it off is it's just as much challenge for us that has a bigger a bigger journey. And like Kaylina says, it is a lifestyle. And Kaylina is one that's been successful with losing weight. And I mean, she looks amazing. Okay, awesome, truly amazing, Teresa. Okay, I am quite up on that. And I'm trying to remember everything that I wanted to kind of comment on that Pamela just shared. Oh, but before I comment, I am curious. How those of y'all that have lost weight that are either in the chat or going to be watching the replay, how much weight have y'all lost now? And just kind of let me know how long it's been, you know, since you lost that amount, or maybe what you've lost since like the last time checking in. And also, if you have any non-scale victories you want to share. And that is one thing I'm going to mention about like mine. And I don't know if Pamela has anything else she wants to share, because I know she shared how much she's lost and all that. Um, but like sometimes it's non-scale victories. And for me, since let's see, where did I write this down? I thought I put it in my notes. Yeah. Um, so I had weighed in the last time on May 9th. Then I went to the doctor June 27th. So in that time frame, I lost 15.2 pounds. Woo-hoo!
Yay!
And that's
Yay!
a total weight loss since April 3rd of 30.6 pounds.
Excellent. Excellent.
And I do notice like my clothes are looser. Like some of the stuff I usually wear is so baggy. It looks like a night shirt on me. And I do feel like, in a lot of aspects, I do have more energy. I am feeling better about myself in general. Now, is there anything on that you want to share, Pamela?
Well, the non-scale victories, I would say at the top of that list is the medical transformation, going from, many prescription medications down to one, which is eye drops for glaucoma. So I'm no longer on blood pressure medication. I'm no longer on respiratory medications. I'm no longer on CPAP or BiPAP at night or oxygen at night. In fact, they're coming to pick up the oxygen next week, um, because I don't need it anymore. And no more gastrointestinal medications for GERD and other problems. All of that is gone. And so I would say, and I'm no longer bed bound or wheelchair bound. I can walk with a walker. I still have to use a walker because my knees are unstable, and I'm a fall risk because of that. So I still use the walker, thank goodness. I have that so that, but I walk fast now. So it's, it's a whole different world. And because I changed from the inside out, is the way I like to describe it, because I started up here. And so my whole personality changed. Everything, so everything changes. And, hopefully for the better. I'm a lot more psychologically flexible. I'm not stuck in depressive thoughts or anything like that. So those would be the biggest non-scale victories for me over the 3 years.
And yeah, I mean, there's so much. It's like I said, the journey of losing weight affects you in other ways beyond the scale. And yeah, just continue sharing in the chat, and I'll get back to everybody's progress later on in the live and play my little video, congratulate all of y'all. But yeah, don't give up.
Right.
And like, going off of some of the stuff that Pamela has mentioned, the mind really is a big part of the process. You need to know why you're doing the things you're doing. And this can apply outside of weight loss too. But
Yeah. Anything you want to pursue, really.
what makes you overeat? What makes what's causing your food triggers? You really got to learn these things. Um and some of it is past trauma, which is, we're going to get into it some today, but it is something I do want to get into more on a future live, which a part of me talking about my traumas, it is kind of like you're scared to, because you're putting yourself out there so much. And a lot of times these are things that have always been hard to talk about, or you're embarrassed about, or shameful about. But when you do it, and this is something I noticed after I did that video talking about my weight struggles. And I was scared when I did that video. And even when I first started up my channel, I was concerned about how I would be treated because of my size. And trust me, I've tried to do as much as I can to hide my size when I film. You know, and I've always been embarrassed when I'm overweight or when I put on back on or gain weight and stuff like that, and you feel ashamed. And some of y'all can probably relate to this, and I'm sure Pamela can.
Oh yeah.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
people don't take
shame.
you seriously. Uh, you know, that's that's a big eye opener when you lose a lot of weight. Is how differently people treat you.
And sometimes too, whenever I started thinking about talking on this subject, it's like, are people going to look at me like, why is that overweight girl telling me what to do to lose weight? you know but there was it after making that video, there was a freedom. It's like it helped erase some of that shame and embarrassment.
Yeah, facing fear is important. You know, to
And
change your brain. Yeah.
it it helped up there. And sometimes talking about it can get you to overcome those type of things. And like I always say, I don't want anyone to talk about something that they're not comfortable talking about. um and again, remember, it's YouTube. There are certain topics you got to be careful with. um but maybe this is something that would help you. And maybe you don't want to do it so public, but maybe just like talk to some of your close friends or family. you
Well,
know
I'm going to get into this because you know, journaling is crucial. I think, at least for my situation, it was crucial. And so we don't always have to talk to other people. You know, if you have people you can trust, if you have, um, but I just want people to know I didn't do that. I was very private, very reclusive. And what changed my trajectory, one of the factors was journaling. And sometimes we just have to face our own demons and before we can talk about it with others.
Exactly. And when you journal, like, because a lot of people will journal what they're eating and keep track, write down like how you're feeling. And
Right.
especially when you overate, how you were feeling, what were your emotions at that time. It could even be boredom, and that's something else. A lot of my issues stem from trauma and boredom when it comes to overeating. Um, and you got to learn how to get past it. You need to learn to heal. And trust me, I get it. Certain things, and even when you think you've dealt with something, all it takes
It'll
sometimes is
come back.
something to be brought up, or you think about it, and it brings up those old hurts and wounds.
Yeah.
You know, but that is a very important aspect. And I do believe how your brain is wired is another aspect, which we're going to get even more on that topic. But the thing is, because I had read this book years ago, one of the times that I was struggling. And this is where I know that this plays a role. And I'm so interested in more on the subject was, the rewiring of your brain. And the book I read, and I do recommend it. And it also tells you a lot of healthy brain foods to eat too, because the foods you eat affect your memory too. And certain foods help your memory better. And like, there's Alzheimer's, dementia as we age that, we got to worry about. And especially if it runs in your family. But the book was called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life by Daniel G. Amen, MD. And he does have other books related to this type of topic. And all the books and YouTube channels mentioned on today's live or listed in the chat, another chat, the live's description box. So if you want to find these books or channels, it's all listed there for you. And this is one that I think you can get like from thrift books for like $4 and something cents if you're okay with used books. Um, but yeah, because you ever notice how like some person could have like the most delicious like cake, dessert, pie, whatever in front of them, or even just like food in general, and it don't seem to tempt them. They can just like, I'm not eating it. And they're fine. There's no temptation. Where people like me, and I'm sure Pamela was like this, and a lot of y'all, you want it. And don't matter, you try, you try with your willpower, and most of the time, now sometimes you can get past it, but you're more prone to caving. Or when you watch a commercial, you see a restaurant commercial, like, oh, I want to go to that restaurant and get that. Where others, it don't phase them. It's all the brain. And unfortunately, some of us are more wired that we get tempted than others. And we got to break these chains.
Yeah.
you know and in the past I didn't really realize that there were ways to rewire. And whenever I started talking to Pamela, that's been a lot of her experience with losing weight.
Yeah, I don't think I could have changed in anything. Um, it was the changes in my brain that enabled me to change the way I ate uh, and other activities. And so, and it changed my whole way of
Hmm.
thinking and my whole personality, essentially. So the change happened inside, and people saw the inside changes long before any outside changes started happening. And so it's really quite amazing. I felt completely different within a week of stopping sugar, for example. And it's, looking back on it, I'm even more amazed. It's like, wow, yeah, that really happened. So,
I mean, and that's why I feel like this is so important. And because like I said, I want you all to be successful.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. That's why I try to be transparent because most people don't have to lose 292 pounds. So, those were the people who inspired me who had lost large amounts of weight. And it's like, well, if they could do it, maybe I can
Hmm.
do it. And I have yet to meet anybody in person or even online who's lost that much weight. So, I saw it on my 600-pound life. When I was in the nursing home, that's all I could do is watch TV. And, so that probably played a role too, seeing that I don't want to be 600 pounds and
Exactly.
go through what they were going through. But seeing that they were able to change that. And so a lot of stuff, comes into play. And do you want me to go on to the next book?
In just a minute.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know because it's
I know,
about
like I
the
said,
whole trauma thing.
there's so much. And then I
I know.
wonder if we'll get into everything I'd like to get into today. I may have to have you come back next month if you can.
Okay. Okay.
um, but like for me, where I really realized the effects that it had on my health was about 7 years ago. I ended up in the hospital. And I mean, I was like where I could barely walk. I mean, basically, the only time I got up was like just to go to the bathroom. I couldn't hardly do anything. And it was embarrassing, you know? And at that point, the hospital weighed me at 442 pounds,
Yeah.
biggest I have ever been. And I did good for like 2 years because here I was like, we got to make changes, Frank. You know, I got down to 198. I lost a lot of weight, over 200 pounds. And now some of it was, that's when I found out that I have congestive heart failure, the diastolic type. And they did pump out like 65 or 70 pounds of fluid while I was in the hospital. So that's counted in. And I did good for like 2 years. Then I started struggling. I put some of the weight back on. Then I got about half of it off. But the struggle started more and more. And well, whenever I ended up in the hospital at the end of March, let's see, I know I wrote it down. I just got to find it in my notes. Okay. Um, well, I think it was like around 388 pounds. So I wasn't close to, far from gaining all my weight back. Um, Now, what I go by for my weight loss journey is my first weighing at my new doctor, which is 378.2, and I'm now down to 347.6 pounds.
Excellent.
I
Very
can't
good.
believe I'm saying this out loud,
Yeah.
but it can be freeing.
It takes the power away. Those
I've
numbers.
taken the
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
I have the power over it, not the other way around. Um, but and then I may more than likely I'm a little less than that because that was of the 27th of June. So, you know, and that's why and this time it was worse when I ended up in the hospital. I really thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
And I really believe I was like that close to at least having a mini one. I can't jeopardize my health. I can't. And I'm hoping to get where I can get off a lot of these medicines or at least a lower dosage. Okay. I see we have Granny D, who just became a Stitchin' Alien again. Thank you so much, Granny D. I appreciate it. And you know what time it is. Let me get, oops, wrong one. Let me take that off now. Where's my video? Here it is. And thank you again, Granny D. And since I'm playing videos, let me play my weight loss celebration video to congratulate everyone for their. Okay, now we can get into the next book.
Well, this book I read in 2019. It's called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, MD. And he started his research and his work specializing in trauma in the 1960s, working with Vietnam veterans. And the first thing that struck me in this book, and this is a hard read, I've got to say, because of the traumas of the patients that he worked with. But it does help you see your own traumas, and that's the benefit of this book, is that he explains. So Caroline Leaf, I learned, how our brain, can get damaged and how we can fix it. In this, we learn how our brain gets damaged and why we need to fix it. And he includes things that, different therapies and things in the back. I won't get into those. But when I started seeing that I had things in common with Vietnam combat veterans, that was just a shock to me. You don't have to have that kind of trauma to experience the changes in your brain that take place because of trauma. And so that helped me recognize I never really thought about how extremely traumas can affect your brain, and your brain stays in. That's why he calls it the body keeps the score, because your brain controls all the functions of your body. And if your brain is stuck in the fight, flight, or freeze mode, you cannot be effective, and it interferes with your bodily functions, your brain functions, and so it kind of short circuits everything. There are, like, when you're going through trauma or pain, extreme pain, your speech centers aren't even accessible. That's why we scream. Like when I broke my leg, all I could do was scream. I couldn't even say what was wrong. I couldn't even access that part of my brain. So Dr. van der Kolk really showed me what happened, what has happened to me over my lifetime, and why I need to do something about it, and how to get started doing something about it. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend his book. It's great, and you can find it in audible form, audio form on Audible too. Then in around that same time, 2019, I signed up. I don't even remember how I came across it, but I signed up for Dr. Benjamin Hardy's email list. And I would get these emails in my mailbox every day. And what I liked about him is he had very step-by-step. He wasn't even a doctor yet. He was still working on his Ph.D. And his research is mainly entrepreneurship, and but he talks about just life in general, and how and what I like the best about him is he would give step-by-step things to do. So while Caroline Leaf gave me the idea that I could change my brain, Dr. van der Kolk gave me the idea of how to start changing my brain. Dr. Hardy gave me steps to try, so I could see, well, will this help me? And then so I started in March to start applying what he was saying, because I wanted to either put what he said in practice, or I wanted to eliminate it so I could stop reading his emails every day. So one of the things he talks about is journaling. And picking a keystone goal. And a keystone goal is a goal, the achievement of which will benefit your life and improve your life the most. And I learned from somebody else way back, I can't remember where, that when you write down goals, write them in the present tense in a personal way. That's why I always try to personalize everything in my notes with I need to do this or whatever. So I started thinking, I was in constant physical pain. I was so addicted to sugar. That was my main food group. That was pretty much most of what I ate. And I was so addicted, I was mainline. I call it mainlining because I was at that point, the only sugar I had in the house was a canister of rock candy on a, little rock candies on a stick for my grandkids. And so I was just sucking on straight sugar rock candy and crunching on that. And I thought, that would probably be, and I knew from past experience, even if I only got 20 pounds off, I would be able to breathe easier. And so I thought, even if I just get 20 pounds off, I'll be better off. So I chose the goal, I do not eat sugar anymore. And I started writing that down every morning and every evening. I missed days. There were days I didn't do it. But I started off that exercise with the idea, I'm going to prove Hardy wrong. I'm going to prove him wrong so I can satisfy myself that I've tried everything. I've tried every diet. I've just tried everything. And I was just fed up. And I just thought, I'm just going to prove. And that way I can just give up this idea and just wait for the heart attack to come and take me. Yeah, that's how the dark place I was in. Mm-hmm. But I was also desperate to get out of pain. I was in pain all the time. So I started, so this book came along in June. I started writing down, I do not eat sugar anymore on March 1st. By April 23rd, I didn't want sugar anymore. Yeah. And this is day 1171 that I have not eaten sugar and it's not because I know it's bad for me, because I knew that for decades, that it was not good for me to eat all the sugar I was eating. The reason why I haven't eaten sugar in, over 1,100 days is because I don't crave it. I don't desire it. It's not recognizable as food to me. It's a toxin to me. So even though I didn't write it down every day, in 1 month and 23 days, my desire for sugar was gone because I changed my identity. I was a person who doesn't eat sugar anymore. And that's a permanent decision. That's not, I'm going to stop eating sugar for a year or something like that. No, I do not eat sugar anymore. It's just like a smoker identifying that I don't smoke. This is where the subconscious comes in. My subconscious had to resolve the conflict between what I was saying, and I would read this out loud as I was writing it. I think it's important to get as many of your sensory pathways involved as possible. And so I was, saying this and writing it down and thinking it, and I was becoming a person who doesn't eat sugar anymore. And so my subconscious, which is the most powerful part of our mind, it controls at least 95% of everything to do with ourselves. And once you get your subconscious, once you access your subconscious, it's powerful enough to change your taste buds. It's powerful. It's changed my sense of smell. It's changed the way I see things. And so anyway, Dr. Hardy, he graduated, he got his doctorate, and he became Dr. Hardy, and he wrote this book, Personality Isn't Permanent. So I immediately ordered it in hardback because I knew I'd be rereading it a lot. And so this basically summarizes everything I learned through his email list. He wrote a book prior to this that I read last year called Willpower Doesn't Work. So you could start there as well. And then he's written another book. He's written several books, but The other one that I think is, very good, like this one, and willpower doesn't work, is called Be Your Future Self Now. And that's one of the most important things I learned from Dr. Hardy. By the way, he has a YouTube channel. You can get all this information off of his YouTube channel. Reading the books just means I have a permanent place to access it, and I put all my notes in my commonplace book so I can keep track of things. But one of the things he emphasizes, what got you here won't get you there. So whatever your goal is, you have to pick one keystone goal, and you have to pursue that single-mindedly. And you get your subconscious. By the way, another book is by Joseph Murphy. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So that book also helped me. And Napoleon Hill also teaches, he's from the early 20th century. He teaches all about the subconscious mind as well. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So that's one of his sayings. And so I highly recommend Dr. Hardy in any form, whether it's his book or his YouTube channel. I still watch him regularly because I still learn more, because as he learns more, he shares all that. And so he, because his main area of study for his doctorate was entrepreneurship, he wanted to know why some entrepreneurs were successful and some were not. And I applied everything, no matter what subject it was, I applied that to my keystone goal, which after the sugar was taken care of, was to, I want to get down, I want to weigh, like my current keystone goal is, let me grab it so I can make sure. It's that and you have to be, this is called you can look this up online, a Napoleon Hill statement. And it has 6 factors to it. But I just put it in with the rest of my affirmations. But my keystone goal is I intend to shed the stored excess fat from my body so that I will weigh 145 pounds on December 31st, 2023. Your keystone goal has to be very specific, detailed, and date. Now I might not make it on December 31st. Like I had the same goal last year for December 31st. But I'm that much closer every year. So another way I have put it is my keystone goal is that on December 31st, 2023, I am in good health and weigh 145 pounds. So I put it in the present tense and personalized. And so that's the keystone goal. What I read before is from my Napoleon Hill statement. And basically, I'm going to say this quickly. What that is you say you outline how you're going to reach that goal, and what you're going. There is no free lunch. So what are you going to do? What are you going to give up? What are you going to pursue that's going to get you to that goal? So, in my case, it's, I won't get into specifics because it could be different for everybody. But one of the things that's in common with every Napoleon Hill statement that anybody writes for themselves, I will read this statement and I read it aloud because you need to access the auditory pathway, and you're using your visual pathway because you're reading it, you're using your mouth. So you're utilizing all these pathways into your brain. So I will read this statement just before sleep at night and upon awakening in the morning. As I read, I will see, feel, and believe myself already at my goal weight of 145 pounds. You have to make that vision, your future self visualization, as vivid and detailed as possible. And the reason why we do this in the morning, as soon as we wake up and right before we go to sleep, that is when your subconscious mind is the most accessible to your conscious mind. If we could do this with our conscious mind, we all would have done it by now. I mean, I'm convinced I would have done it, decades ago. So I found this to be the key, is accessing my subconscious mind. And doing this, future self, I just call it FSV in my journal. And I pick something, whatever I happen to be thinking about. It could be something like my future, and I always write about my future self, and that's where Benjamin Hardy's book, Be Your Future Self Now, and really even Willpower Doesn't Work, talks about the future self, because this is what he studied for in psychology. And the more we can conceive of our future self as a real thing, as reality, and we consult our future self. And I have deliberate practice questions that, every decision I make, I use these questions. Does it add to or take away from my future self? And I ask myself before I do something, is this going to, because I want my future self to be on my current self side. And so basically we're made up of three people: our former self, our current self, and our future self. We want to learn how to have compassion for our former self, because our former self, I'm going to get crying here, but anyway, I'll try to get it out. We have to forgive our former self for not knowing. And I write about my future self and my former self in the second person. I say she didn't know all this. She had no access to this information. She had no idea. And so she did the best she could at the time. And what you discover when you develop this empathy, compassion, and forgiveness for your future self, not only does it strengthen your current self and enlarge your future self, it gives you that kind of empathy, compassion, and forgiveness for other people. It spreads. And so you don't, so a lot of trauma that you're stuck with, and the people that were, involved in that trauma, it loses its power to affect you in the present, because essentially the past is over. It's a story. We are in control of our past. We think we're not in control, but our past only exists in our brain, in our mind, because once it's over, it's over. And that's why the body keeps the score is important. We have to teach our body that, no, that's not happening anymore. We're not in that place anymore. We're okay right now. And we are big enough and strong enough to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves from harm. And we have to learn to trust in ourselves to do that. And that's why we go back and we redefine our traumas. How did this happen for me? Instead of why did this happen to me? And we try to learn the lessons, because lessons are repeated until learned. And so, the more we, so we don't necessarily have to go looking for this. I want to go think about my traumas for a while, because that's naturally going to come up. We're going to have triggers. So when it comes up, that's what we do. We say, okay, let's take a minute and write. I'll write about it. And I'll say, this happened. It was horrible. This should never have happened. Nobody should do this to another person, blah, blah, blah. But I'm stronger now, and I can deal with it. And I think that's part of facing our fears. We want to do something courageous every day. I'm sure it was courageous for you, Connie, to start a YouTube channel and go on camera. It was hard for me to do. And I was not at my top weight. I had lost a lot of weight before I ever tried to go, on camera. And that's a courageous thing. So for some people, it might just be courageous to get out of bed today. Let's just get out of bed today. And so, just you can set little goals like that. But that's why I say the journaling is so crucial, because you need to have this ongoing conversation with yourself and nurture your former self and consult your future self and say, like one of my deliberate practice questions is, 5 years from now, what decision will I wish I had made today? So I try to, choose 3 priorities the night before a day, and part of my journaling is to write down those 3 priorities for the next day. That way it's all off my mind. I can go to sleep. It's on paper. I don't have to try to remember it. And then, because Robert Brault said, if you have more than 3 priorities, you have none, because you just can't process that much, So you pick the top 3 priorities, and then I can't remember if it was Robert Brault or somebody else, but he wrote a book called "Eat That Frog," and that comes from a quote from Mark Twain, that if you eat a frog in the morning, everything else is great for the rest of the day. So if you tackle the hardest thing first, or the most important things first, then your day goes better, and you have more wins during that day, or more gains. And that's another thing. At night, when I journal at night, I write down 3 wins for the day, 3 gains. And if I'm in a really dark place, I got out of bed today. I made breakfast today. Or, so gains don't have to be something monumental like I won the Nobel Prize today. It can be very simple, like I went outside and I watched the sunset. And then I write 3 things I'm grateful for. And these kind of things changes the way your mind thinks. You can't find things that you're not searching for. So you train your mind to search for things. What am I grateful for today? Well, my cat sitting in my lap and purring. I'm grateful for that. Or, I'm grateful my sister called me. And so, it doesn't have to be any great, you don't have to be a writer. You don't have to, and sometimes maybe just start with one thing. If 3 things is too hard, just do 1 thing. Write down 1 thing I'm grateful for. I'm breathing today. I walked 3 steps without a walker. That's been some of mine. And so another excellent book that did not get me started on this journey, but I have read it 4 times. In 2023, it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about that. When you're starting a new habit, start with 2 minutes, or just start with 1 thing, 1 step in that direction. So the only way you lose is by not trying. And so that's what I want to leave you with, is just don't be defeated. You're not defeated. And even if you feel defeated, you could start over that very minute and say, I'm grateful for this. Or come up with a goal that you want to start, a keystone goal that you want to start writing down. And I did it. I started writing it down to prove it wouldn't work, and it still worked. So if you have even a hope that it'll work, you're starting off better than I did. So like I said, those are the people that really helped me. And I mean, within a week, the first week of not eating sugar, people could see my eyes were brighter, my mood was elevated, I was happy, and it's been that way ever since. And it just gets better and better. And I don't have to think so much. I'm not tempted to eat foods that are not good for me, because I knew all that nutritional information long before this. The whole time I was 484 pounds, I knew what I should not be eating and what I should be eating and all these things, But just having that brain knowledge was not enough. I had to access the emotional centers of my brain, not just the analytical centers of my brain. And so, and so that's why I say, once my brain changed, it was very easy. I have not struggled in any, I haven't struggled with cravings or anything like that, because I made a permanent decision not to eat sugar anymore. I was pre-diabetic. I did not want to go on insulin. I didn't want to, so that's why I started there. And it just grew from there. And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
And one thing I do want to mention, like I said earlier, all of these books that Pamela and the one book I mentioned, the names of the books and the authors are all listed in the description of today's live. And let me see. Oh,
The one I forgot to put in the list that I sent you was Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy.
okay.
So that's an excellent book as well. I read that one
And,
last year.
and some of
And it's
these
where you change
authors,
your environment. You change your environment, and that includes your outer environment as well as your inner environment. Then willpower doesn't even come into
yeah, and
play.
some of these authors may have other books too. And like Dr. Carolyn Leaf has a YouTube channel. Um, I know there's another one. I'm trying to see. Yeah, Dr. Benjamin Hardy has a YouTube channel. And like I said, and I have that information all in the description box of today's live. And there are a few things that I want to comment and share, like my experiences or certain information that Pamela was just discussing. Then I'm going to catch up with the chat. And I do want to say hi to Laura Lee and Antoinette and now Danny. How are all of y'all doing? Welcome in. Now Antoinette did say she had to leave and we'll be watching the replay. So I hope you have a good day, Antoinette. And then there may be a few other things we'll get into based on the time. I have about 24 minutes left on today's live. But but one thing, like some of the stuff I want to talk about is like the past traumas. And I know, like for me, my traumas, like I'm not going to get in a lot of detail, but I will like later on talk about this more with y'all. As most of y'all know that my mom got sick and died of cancer. I was in the 7th grade when she got sick, and she passed away when I was in the 8th grade, which is a young age to lose a parent like that. And I think especially a mother, because we
Yes.
rely on our moms for so much. And then you miss out on so many things that most people get to experience with their moms. And even a father too, and even like some of y'all that lose them later on in life, it's still never easy. But I think it's harder when it happens, when a person's a young age. And I know some people, I mean, they're very, very young when they lose a parent younger than what I was. And when all that occurred, you know, I stuffed my feelings. I didn't
Yep.
talk about it. Like I had friends that didn't even know that my mom passed away. I just didn't talk about it. It's kind of like, in a sense, I tried to pretend like it didn't happen. Not that it didn't affect me and not that I didn't know, but I didn't want to think about it. And I mean, it took me in my adulthood before I really talked about it some, you know, and that has been a big factor. And then it got worse because about a year after my dad passed away, he remarried. And you know what they sometimes say about stepmothers? And let me put it to this way. I don't think any of my siblings really cared for her. And I felt like I experienced a lot of emotional A word from her. Um, and I dealt with it the most because I was the youngest. I had to live with her. And luckily, I was in high school, you know, because they got married before the 10th grade started. And it was like, I still lived with my brother initially because I did I didn't want to transfer high schools in the middle of a 9 weeks. So, and as it was, because I had come down with something, they made me stay at their house before the 9 weeks ended, and they were bringing me like back and forth from school. But anyway, there was a lot of like drama and stuff where her kids always had to be better than my dad's kids, and she really wasn't very loving towards me, and it affected me a lot. And because of my stepmother, I've always had issues when it comes to my dad too, because he allowed these things to happen. And the funny thing is, earlier, like at first, I blame my stepmother more. But now that I'm older and see it clearer, my dad was no saint. He should have put his foot down and not allowed it. So that's where like a lot of my trauma stems from. And I think why I tend to eat for comfort or overeat. And being aware of these type of things, you know, helps you when you're on your weight loss journey. It don't seem like the two are related, but it so is. Howdy, Nancy. Welcome in. Glad you're here. Um, and I'm trying to remember everything I wanted to bring up. And I'm probably gonna forget something. Oh, gee. Oh, I hate whenever I can't remember what I want to say. Um, but I do feel like the mind is very important on your journey. And why do you think I always try to be positive and upbeat? It affects your mood and it affects your way of thinking. The more you're like negative, you're going to feel down in the dumps. You're not going to feel good about yourself. And don't think I can't do this. It's too hard. I can't lose the weight. Yes, you can. You can do it. Think
Yeah,
positive.
I never thought I could do it, and I'm a believer now.
Think positive. The mind is a powerful thing, and it's mindset. It really is. But the worst thing to do is tell yourself, I can't do this. This is too hard. Because most of the time, you can do anything you put your mind to. You're a lot stronger than you realize. And you will feel so much better about yourself. And when it comes to losing weight, you'll notice you have way more self-confidence when you start losing weight, or you lose a good bit of weight type thing. You feel better about yourself. People want to be around you more, you know Now, yeah, there are some aspects I don't like. Sometimes how people treat you differently, like when it comes to the fact that they weren't kind to you because you struggled with your weight. But now that you're more consider a decent weight, they're okay with interacting and socializing with you. I don't, that aspect, because regardless of a person's size, you should always be kind to the person or whatever the thing is, because we're all have different issues and things or struggles. And one thing that really bugs me is when people view people that are overweight as being lazy, they don't try. And someone that's never had a weight struggle don't really tend to understand. I'm not going to say they don't ever, because sometimes they've experienced it with friends and family. Like I know Anita, you know, she's had a lot of people around her with those struggles. So she's actually pretty knowledgeable about things, although she's never really had the struggle herself. And, you
She's
know,
been an empathic witness.
what was
She
that?
she's she is an empathic witness.
Mm-hmm.
She uh, she listens, she pays attention.
But a lot of y'all that y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all had those people that were just mean spirited to you about it,
Yeah.
and
One of
and
the
it's
things
like,
I hated the most is uh, there's uh, a lot of people think you're stupid because you're
mm-hmm.
large. You're a large, heavy person. They think you're stupid, and it's like no,
And that's
you know,
the thing. Trust me, we all typically that struggle with our weight want to get the weight off. And more than likely, we have tried several times. And I
right,
mean, I know in my personal journey, the time, the effort, the tears,
yep,
you know, I've put a lot of effort into getting the weight off. I don't want to be big,
right,
you know, it's just some of us have more struggles than other. And like I said, emotional traumas are a trigger. Boredom's definitely a trigger. I mean, and I don't know that it just like it fumes me when people act like that towards others.
yeah,
It does. I'm sorry. And even if somebody is, like, say they're at their ideal weight, you may look at them and think they've never struggled with their weight. You don't know.
right. You
Maybe.
don't. It's like KK and Kristen at K&K Crochet. They say be kind to others because nobody knows another's journey. We don't know what someone else has been through
And
unless they tell us.
exactly. And that's the thing. That person, maybe they have to work hard to maintain the size that they are. Or maybe, for all you know, they could have been 50 pounds, 100 or more larger, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
They lost the weight, and hopefully they were able to keep it off long term. You don't know. So never judge a book by its cover. You don't know someone else's shoes unless you've walked in it or they share stuff with you. Don't make presumptions. I see we have Sonia that joined us. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, for those that have joined us, please share if you basically how much weight you've lost and over what amount of time, your non-scale victories, or maybe you're struggling with something on your journey. Um, I'm fixing to read all the comments. I have about 10 more minutes of the live, so hopefully I get to everybody. If not, send me an email if there's something you want to share with me via email. I will answer you back or answer your questions there. If I don't get to your question today, it's not intentional. I just ran out of time. Oh, hi, Zola. How are you? All right, so let me get back in the chat history. And hopefully I can get through the whole chat stuff. um, let's see. Okay, that's
Yeah, I
about.
missed a lot of chat. So if anyone was talking to me, I apologize because
Yeah, and
my
it is.
glasses, I couldn't get glasses to enable me to see the chat well enough. So every once in a while I could read something, but so I'm going to go back and reread it all later.
And it is difficult sometimes because you're trying to put, you know, like certain time on interacting with those in the chat, your guest store, and all that. So it's easy to get behind on things, and
Yep.
like when I do topics, I'm trying to put out so much information on the topic, and it's a juggling act, and I don't always get to everything I want to. Okay, I should almost be where I left off. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Granny D goes live at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is why I'm trying to wrap things up so y'all can alien invade her. Uh, let's see. And Teresa says, yes, a lot of food affects your memory. I'm going to start writing in a notebook of food I can put in blender and make a smoothie. Yeah. But one thing I do want to point out, eating your foods instead of drinking them is better for you, and it usually makes you feel fuller. So do keep that in mind. Um, But I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a smoothie too. And as long as you're making it healthy, it's not like it's going to sabotage you. But especially if you're struggling, like with, munchies or something like that, be careful because it's better to eat your calories than to drink them. And let's see. Kaylina says, I give in. I just make it so I can have it. I can't have gluten, folic acid, dairy, and soy. And making muffins in a mug helps. Yeah, and like you can do like muffins in a mug in the microwave, but just make sure you're using healthy ingredients because muffins can turn into a junk food very easily. And that's another thing with mindset. See, I try to look at like junk food or unhealthy foods or like stuff that I find what I call a trigger food that I can't control myself on as poison. I'm trying to program the brain so I won't want to eat those foods.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I just most of the grocery store, I don't even see food there. It's very, it's only certain departments of the grocery store that have food. I don't even see it's like it just doesn't register as food to my brain.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to congratulate as many people as possible that shared, that they've lost weight or non-scale victories. I may not get it to everybody's comment, but congratulations, everybody that has
Yep.
made progress. I am so so proud of y'all. And if y'all have a struggle on your journey, send me an email. Maybe I can help you. We can talk about it. Um, let's see. Antoinette says vertigo's a little better. I haven't really crocheted last few days, but hopefully I can get back to it soon. Went for a checkup to MD this week. So far down 26 pounds since mid-April.
Excellent.
Yay,
Very
congrats.
good. Very good.
Yes. And she cut back on one of her diabetic medicines also. Non-scale victory.
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
fantastic. I just, yeah, I was
And
scared of that insulin, man.
with lose with losing weight, like I said, you feel better. You can do more. Um, and Antoinette's asking how I'm doing, and I think someone else asked that too. I'm doing good. Samantha wants to quickly know what's your favorite crochet project, Pamela.
Um, Gosh, I do a lot of blankets. I think I like them because they're big and like a big canvas where you paint with yarn, kind of, and really good designers. I'm currently working on uh, my Lizzie blanket, which is very color, 15 colors, so you can
Ooh,
kind of
pretty.
see that. And and this is by Anya at Ophelia Talk. Is her channel, Ophelia Talk. And but I'm getting, now that I've lost so much weight, I'm getting more into wearables. I never thought I was worthy of wearables before. I guess I just it just seemed like it would be too tight, too uncomfortable, too hot. I liked wearing
See, I felt the same.
loose, loose clothing and stuff. And then for Connie's weight loss make along, I'm doing this cotton knitted top. So I'm getting more into those, and then I also like making things for my grandchildren. They seem to really love it, and that my current project
Yeah.
there is the octopus hat, and I'm so excited that I'm not. Some of this is kind of new to me, this type of thing. But here's the octopus hat. And it's basically two hats put together to create the head and then the
Nice.
eyes. And I was so excited. I got the eyes on. I was so, I've never done that. So it's like, it
And,
actually, they're all buggy like an octopus's eyes.
and one thing I do want to mention that some of you may experience this, especially if you lose a lot of weight. I know I've experienced this where you start getting cold easily, or like drinking water even can make you cold. Also, Samantha wants to know what your favorite crochet. No, I'm sorry. How long you been crocheting, Pamela?
Oh, probably since I was really young, like 4 to 6. I was 4 years old when I was begging my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my mother to show me how to do all the pretty things they did. They did sewing, embroidery, uh, cross stitching, knitting, crocheting, and I just it's like, show me how to do that, show me how to do that, and they did. And so by the time I was 6 years old, I was doing all of those things, and that's what they would give me for gifts for birthdays and stuff, is knitting needles and yarn and crochet hooks. And one of my favorite was a sewing basket my great grandmother gave me with little squares in there that I could, that she had done transfers onto, so I could embroider them and sew them together. And she helped me make a doll quilt out of those. And so yeah, I've been doing it ever since I was a little girl. I don't even really remember the learning process, which makes it difficult for me to teach others, actually. It's like, it just feels like I've always done it. So, but yeah, so I've always wanted to have handwork. And so,
And let's
yeah.
see, Lorley saying, I am working on the knit core code and doing the Bod Hattapaloozie with Granny Crafter Edna. Awesome.
Wow, I
And
haven't heard of it.
unfortunately, that looks like where I'm gonna have to end on the chat comments. And like I said, I do apologize if I didn't get to some of your questions. Just email me. Um,
You can
or
email me too, because I'm going to go back and reread the chat, but my email is greenstickcottage@gmail.com.
like some of y'all that shared your progress or a struggle. But again, I do congratulate y'all. Um, I just ran out of time, and hopefully I didn't miss greeting anybody. Oh, we have Gloria that joined us, and I think I greeted Nancy. But yeah, I hope those that joined us later decide to catch the replay. And I'm gonna play my little short closing video thanking my Stitchin' Alien channel members, and then we'll say our goodbyes. And
Bye, everybody.
y'all go invade Granny D.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right, let me find my video. Where are you? There it is. And as always, thank you all for watching. Um, I'm glad that y'all were here or y'all catch the replay, and um I enjoyed talking with everybody. I hope everyone has a fabulous rainy day. Be the light and bye.
Bye, everybody.